Hello everyone, in today's video we're going to be showing you why decoys are tricky to employ, as well as showing you some features from a scenario side perspective of how you can make them kind of work in a given situation. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got here. We've got ourselves the Enterprise. For some reason it is off the coast of Connecticut. I don't know where Connecticut keeps getting all these, Soviet-era weapons. I think they just picked them up for a really, really good deal at an auction somewhere, and, they've got to use them if they got them. I'm just saying. I guess technically what we could have done is, fill them up with, Nike Ajaxes or something like that, but I don't know, this works fine. But anyway, enough of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to strike this airfield, and we're going to try doing it the silly way, and then we're going to show you how drones can kind of make things a little bit easier. Then, of course, we're going to show you how decoys can be used as well. So without getting too technical here, I'm just going to come up here. I'll say attack this. We'll go ahead and do a land strike here. Again, I'm not doing anything different, nothing unique here. Of course, we're a size of 3. We'll go ahead and do our flight size there. Again, nothing unique. Please remove these runways. They're going to give you issues otherwise. All right, so we've got F-14Ds. They're carrying the TALD. This is a neat little weapon if you haven't seen this thing before. Basically what it is it's a flying decoy, and it kind of just sort of chills. And what makes it a little drone-like is the fact that it'll actually do power donuts once it gets to its destination, just to confuse things even more. Now, the interesting thing is you'll see this doesn't work well. We have F-18Cs. These are going to be our strikers. They've got Mark 83s. And, of course, the Es here are going to be carrying an awful lot of these SAMs. I think each one gets 4 harms each, which is a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and grab all this and toss this in here. We're going to mark these 2 crews as our escorts. That's good to go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to head over to my WRA for my escort, and I'm going to tell them not to waste harms on everything. We're only going to do 2 allowed per shot. Now, the interesting thing here is, like I said, wait till you see the fireworks in a couple of minutes. It'll put a smile on your face here. All right, that's all set to go. That's all set to go. That's all set to go. And that is all set to go. All right, let's demonstrate how silly this is going to be. So I'm going to go ahead and unpause here. And obviously, we could go around the big wall of missile silos, but that would just be too easy for us. We can't do that. And I love the fact that everybody's doing their circles, and wait for it. Anytime, folks. You don't have to sit there. Again, it's an aircraft carrier. You can only launch so many airplanes at a time. And this is basically what? Like 70 planes I'm launching or something awful like that? All right, folks. Anytime you're ready to head towards the target region, there's a bar lock. Oh, there they go. Finally. I don't know why that bar lock is happily chirping at me. I swear I shut this off every single time. We'll do that one. There we go. Nice. All right. So right now, our WRA, basically, on the other side, is so if you have to identify something before you're allowed to take some shots at it. So we're going to cruise along here, and what you're going to observe is the fact that we're going to basically get right up and knock before the party starts. And now the reason the party is not going to start is on account of the fact, they're getting close. Keep in mind it is 5:15 in the morning. Oops, somebody had to go back for gas, it looks like. Of course, it's the F-14s. Ironically, they're the ones carrying the drones, or I should say decoys. Now, one of the things you'll find very fascinating here is we actually launched the decoys. I didn't do any manual attacks or anything like that. They just decided to start flipping them out there just like that. And that's one of those cool features that saves us having to press Control F1 like 30 times here. So I'm going to go ahead and speed up time a little bit. Here comes the missiles, and the party has started. Now, what you'll observe here, as soon as the crews down here identified this one group, probably F-18s if I had to guess. Yeah, F-18Cs. As soon as they were identified as hostile, the party started. Now, here's the cool thing. If I switch over to red real fast, I don't know why this resets every single time, but it's like, let me shut that off so you can actually see what's going on here. So we have a wall of yellow here, meaning it hasn't been identified, which means don't shoot at it until you identify it, which also, interestingly enough, means, as you're probably watching the party kind of unfold here, that we're not shooting at any of those decoys. It's basically hanging out up here as if nothing's going on. Now, if I speed up time a little bit, you'll see kind of the initial harms are going to find their marks here. We also notice that there's several other radar sites that we didn't identify when we did our initial pass here. And that's going to make things much, much worse for us because now, unfortunately, we're going to be shot at by things we didn't know were there. So they never emitted. We didn't pick them up on radar. And again, you can see everybody's basically getting in position. Look at the wall. Oh, a couple of the square pairs. We're taking a pot shot. Oh, look at that. There's another one we just detected. Yeah, the reason I put all those SAM-8s basically around there is to make it a little bit harder to get cheap shots with harms. Harms are fantastic weapons, but if you want to stop them from cheap shotting enemy silos, you have to put something that has some anti-missile capability nearby. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. All right. Party's continuing here. Looks like one of the F-18 groups did get through. We've got 3 of them basically hanging out, and 2 little teammates. And, of course, these SAM teams are doing a beautiful job. You can see the decoys are doing exactly what the decoys were designed to do. And there's going to be an awful lot of fireworks at that airport in a second. Oh, boy. Here comes the fireworks. A couple more. Looks like we got that SAM-8 also. Here's another few more here. And that looks pretty good to me. Oh, wow, the fireworks are beginning. Wow, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Ooh, man, that Sam just does not want to go down. And of course, our decoys are happily doing power donuts, basically right over the heads of the Sams, distracting them as everybody basically pulls out right now. And one of the things I did do, and I learned this from fiddling with this earlier, is I do have these guys. These are the Stingray UAVs. They actually can do air refueling, which I don't know. There's something kind of neat about that, if you ask me. I never think of using drones for that purpose, but hey, whatever. And meanwhile, of course, there's an Intaglia down here, right at the little carrier trying to land. If you want to see something sort of amusing, let me switch on 3D view real quickly here. This is just so absurd. Look at this. Look at this. Oh boy. Let me click on this guy real quick. There we go. All right. Who's up next? Imagine that chaos going on above your heads there. So anyway, let's see how we did. So if I go to our losses and expenditures real fast, I will see that we got a couple. We got a bunch of SAMs. We got a few of the airplanes though, so it was kind of a bust. They didn't fire very much at us, which is good signs, and we lost one F-18, which not great. Not great. So let's go ahead and reset that. So what happened here, and I think like you can probably get it now, is because the WRA on this side was basically saying only shoot at stuff that is known hostile, all of those decoys we fired were essentially wasted, and very few of them were ever engaged, if at all, which means essentially the whole purpose of the decoys was completely thrown away because all they did is confuse the player. They didn't do anything to the SAMs on the ground. So let's make a little adjustment here. So I'm going to jump back to this team real fast, and I'm going to press Control-Shift F9. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say they can shoot at anything that's in the air. Now, of course, this is a very, very permissive technique as far as doctrine goes, but it'll demonstrate my purpose pretty effectively as far as how to tweak these things goes. So strike 2, I'll go ahead and call it like that, land strike. Go ahead and grab all of our, almost did it, almost did it. 3 and size 3 should be perfectly fine for us from a logistical perspective. 1, 2, 3, down here. Nice. Your mark selected as escorts. Your mark selected as escorts. And the one thing I want to do, just like we did last time, is we're going to pop off the 2 runways. Go to WRA. Let's see here. We need escort WRA, WRA. And we only want to fire 2. Obviously, more than that is just wasteful. Okay. Now, things are going to be slightly different. Now, you'll get a kick out of this. Remember, the only thing we changed was to tell the other guys that they can YOLO at anything in the air. Now, you're probably noticing my AWACS right here and saying, how come he's not getting shot at? Because believe it or not, he's out of range. I actually very carefully checked the range before I embarrassed myself here. Keep in mind, in the real world, they might take the pot shot anyway, just to scare the crap out of the AWACS crew. And it's not going to stop them from basically, there it goes. Here comes the SAM-5s. SAM-5s, man. You got to respect the S200M. It's an impressive SAM system despite its age. And I've always been, I just think it's cool. There's even a nuclear variation of it. And it also uses basically this phase. And of course, unfortunately, this guy is going to be braking at the last second. Go, 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 go. Turn and run. No, 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 no. And the entire mission has failed already, as we basically got shot down before we even got close. And notice there's another wave of these SA-5s coming at us. Oh boy, here we go again. Everybody prepare to duck. Now, believe it or not, these folks are doing, I don't know, I wouldn't climb against an SA-5. I'd probably try to get under its radar. These are active or radar homing, depending on what model of the missile it is. But you can see basically the SAM-5 wins the battle here today. We're not even getting close. Look at this. Here comes another one. Whoa, run away, run away. We are getting hammered here, and that is another loss of aircraft there. Now, we're starting to launch some of our decoys. Finally, we finally got ourselves in a range here. Now, this is where it gets kind of fun, because what you're going to see is 100 SAM-2s, basically S-75s, are going to start spamming these decoys, because from their perspective, let me go switch to the other team, everything's hostile. And again, you can see it completely disregarded my setting there. And they're just going to start into the sky right now. Again, technical term. Meanwhile, my escorts are doing exactly what they should be doing, which is firing their harms at the now radiating missile silos or missile sites, which makes this much, much easier to do. So now everything's actually working the way it's supposed to work. Here comes a bunch more of these decoys. Again, that's going to be basically a cheap shot. Bam, look at that. Out of the fight. And we can see even the SAM-5's getting in on it. Check it out. He's taking pot shots at that group there. Meanwhile, the rest of the crews are getting into position here. Of course, we've lost about half of everything that we started this battle with, so things aren't going so well for us here. And we can see, look at that, they're just wasting their time. Like at any point, they could probably do a strafing run on that site, assuming they're probably doing mad reloads right now. All right, here they go again. They're just taking all those pot shots. Oh, that one's definitely hostile, folks. That SAM is definitely not on your side. If it's shooting up at you, I don't trust it. But again, if you take a look, our decoys actually did an okay job here. So now our F-18s are getting into position. They're spamming that poor airbase again. You can see almost every single bomb hit this time. So then they're going to turn around and they're going to start heading home. And you can see I lost almost every single one of those poor decoys that I launched. And this poor guy, he just wants to go home. Let him go home. And then he gets home. Now, the interesting thing here is if you take a look at our loss and expenditures again, you can see we did okay. We got a couple of these, we got a couple of these, but in general, we basically failed the mission. Now, if I scroll down here, they fired just about everything at us, and we lost 12 FA-18C Hornets. That is an embarrassing loss, and it's awful. That's like more than half a squadron worth, and that gives you an idea of how big of a failure that was. And that shows you how those kinds of things don't work that way, and hopefully you're starting to kind of see where we're going with this. So let's go ahead and think about this from a scenario designer's perspective. That would have been very unsatisfying. Obviously, I could have manually launched every single one of those decoys. It wouldn't have mattered unless everything was very permissive. So one of the things you can do as a scenario designer to kind of preclude this and actually make them work the way they were intended, because that didn't work. Obviously, we'd have to go around. You know how these things go. Also, we could launch the decoys at low altitude too, so we don't get pot shots by the S-200. That's part of the fun. So what we're going to do here is instead we're just going to define a zone, and we're going to make that zone the free fire zone. And the reason this works best, we're going to say fire fry. I'll go ahead and call it that. The reason this works really, really well for these scenarios is it basically allows the other team kind of like a little bit of a respite at the same time as providing users with a little bit more not a chance, but like, you know what I mean? So what we're going to do is we're going to define this zone real quickly here as an exclusion zone. So I'm going to go ahead and create it. Exclusion zones are basically a way that you can declare something that happens here. Shoot anything here. Mark violators as hostile. Now, this is a great solution to this problem. I'm going to go validate it. I don't think I made a mistake, but we're going to go anything that crosses this magical line now basically gets to get shot at. So I'll go ahead and make that a little more dramatic. And might as well include Nantucket Martha's Vineyard there. All right, I'm going to save this. Don't forget to hit save. So the way this works now is if anything crosses this line, it starts the party. Now, that is so much better for us because that's going to give us the ability to basically get all of our decoys off before anything goes downhill. You'll see what I mean. All right, let's do it. So we're going to do the same thing we did last time. Let's see, shoot this third time. Third time is the charm. Go ahead and I'll lock everything up here. We're going to grab everybody like we did last time. These two folks are going to be escorts. We're going to double check to make sure we've done our sizes correctly. Sizes are correct. Sizes are correct. We don't want to shoot at these. It would be a waste of your time. The other thing I would save your time too is I get all these things out of here. For some reason, they love shooting at stuff like that. It's just a waste. Don't even bother. All right, WRA, we're going to make sure we only fire 2 of these this time. Now, this is going to be so cool this time. Do not use weapons against surface contacts. Well, that would be pretty amusing if they did. But one of the things we can do here is if you kind of rip through this real quick, you've got your radars, you've got runways, all sorts of good stuff here. One of the things I appreciate is the fact that it highlights things in green to tell you that this is the thing that you're looking for. All right, that all looks good, that all looks good, that all looks good, that all looks good, that looks delightful. Now, watch what happens. So right now, as it stands, what's going to happen is our aircraft are not going to be engaged until it is essentially too late. And it creates a really neat little situation. And you'll see exactly what I mean when the party starts here. All right, here they go. Everybody's coming. And obviously, we're not doing manual control here. Now, let me go swing to the other team real fast. Now, stop it. So what you can see here is everybody's marked basically as an unknown at this point. And until they cross this magical line, none of the fireworks are going to start. And when it does start, it is going to be the spammiest thing you've ever seen in your life. So let's use up front here. These are why are they so far ahead? Folks, when you do stuff like that, you tend to be the first ones to get shot at. Case in point. As you can see, they have crossed the magic line of doom. Let's go ahead and swing to the other seam here. And you can see as soon as they crossed that, they started getting engaged. And each time the new one marks over, you can see the next one gets engaged as well. Whoa, I hope I didn't just lose another one. There we go. Nice. This is where things get really goofy, by the way. So they're crossing into the marked as hostile zone. Marked as hostile. Really, the Sam 5 wins this battle, by the way. He's doing a delightful job here. And you can see everybody's basically lighting up all of their radars, which is exactly what they want them to do. Because the moment they turn their radars on, everybody with a harm is now going to start to fire the harm from the safety of the altitude that they were. Now, believe it or not, the enemy now is shooting at our decoys. They're not shooting at our actual aircraft. And now our harm teams, as you can see, are starting to do a beautiful job of basically lobbing these harms right into the danger zone, which they are no longer exposed to because, of course, all these missiles are doing the thing. You can see this other cruiser launched theirs. You can see the next set of decoys are going out. You can even see that the SAM-5 is getting in on taking pot shots at those decoys. Actually, this whole zone is dangerous. So he's firing at these, actually wasting his ammunition. Meanwhile, as you can see, my escorts are just going hard as far as these lovely SAMs go, the anti-radar missiles. Should be more technical here. But look at this. They're going right for that one. Oh, and he turned his radar on and got splattered for it. Oh, we can see my SAM-5 here. He's about to get ouch, ouch, ouch. The SAM-5 is no longer in the battle now. And it's just a party at this particular point. Everybody's firing their decoys. The missiles are going all over the place, and everything is looking incredible. Look at this guy. Even this guy's going to get hit. Look at that. Done. Thank you for playing. All right. Meanwhile, our F-18Cs here, we lost one of them. That was going to happen because of Mr. SAM-5 there. We should have come in at a much lower altitude during my initial. You will see quite the spike of lag in a few seconds here. I'm half expecting to get the little warning that says your frame rate is low, but it's going to happen when it's going to happen. Look at this. Look at this. There's another one. Bam. Sorry, buddy. You should see what the new harms can do. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this party. They're all just doing power donuts and firing arms at him. I mean, it's fantastic. Of course, the F-18Cs are just turning around. They're coming home. They're probably going to stop and get some gas from the drone here and keep it nice and simple. And it is just like a party time up there. Of course, the SAM-5 is like, okay, why are y'all picking on me? I'll tell you why we're picking on you, because you're dangerous. All right, let's keep on heading out. For those of you who have never seen this before, there's a program called SAM Simulator. Go look it up and give it a try sometime. It'll completely change your perspective on a lot of these things. All right, everybody's heading home. A few people are probably going to stop for some gas on the ride in. I would assume they would be stopping for gas. But again, they've done a nice job here. And of course, our last decoys are running out of gas. Okay, now this is where it gets kind of fun. Losses and expenditures. Let's see what happened here. So we got 3 of those, 8 of those, and 3 of those. Oh, we got lots of their SAM-2s. We also got about, we did really, really well here. This was almost half of the total enemy assets here. They fired plenty of missiles at us, and we lost a single F-18C. Now, the part that you're probably going to be most impressed with is this F-18C was actually lost to the SA-5 at the beginning of the fight. Isn't that crazy how effective that works? So again, what we did there was we basically tweaked the WRA so there was a no zone, and that made it a little bit more fun for the player to be able to kind of crack that puzzle. And now if we just made them fire at anything, you could see how chaotic that was. And of course, if you're a mission designer, you could do things like that, but the only reason you would is if you had some kind of civilian units or something like that. Good stuff. Enjoy.